to another guitar lesson with me, Rex Pearson, from the usual place, rexpearson.com. Hope you've had an awesome week. Now, I'm going to be doing a few guitar lessons that are going to be based around the YouTube chart, and at the moment, Rihanna Stay is in the YouTube chart, so we're going to be doing a guitar lesson now. It's a beginner guitar lesson on Rihanna Stay. Now, the whole song uses open position chords pretty much throughout, except for one chord, which is the dreaded F major chord. Now, if you have trouble with open position chords, I'm not going to cover them in this lesson. You can check out the beginner guitar course, which is available on the website completely for free to get you up to the standard to be able to play this song. So I really hope you guys enjoy it. Enjoy the lesson, and let's just get cracking with it, basically. First verse coming right up. Okay, so the first verse. C major is the first chord, open position. You can strum it or pick out the notes. Now if you're a beginner, make sure you're picking these out cleanly, each note. Next chord is D minor. Make sure every note is ringing, it's a 4-note chord. And then A minor. They're the main chords. Now how do we play it? Right. You're going to play the bass note. Now the way I play it, to mimic the piano, because it's played on a piano, is I pinch the strings with my right hand. All 4 strings. I'll use my thumb, first, second and third finger, and I'll pinch them all together so they kind of squeeze together to get the strings all together. This is going to handle the bass notes, the thumb, and that handles the first sort of hit. Then I'll use the 3 fingers here to kind of do that kind of a motion. Then you move over to the D chord, so you've got bass with all of them, and then 2 on its own. Then you move to the D minor chord and you do the exact same thing, but only once, it's just a pinch. And then you move over to your A minor chord. So you do them all together, and again 2 with just the upstrokes. Now this is where the bass note moves to the G string. So let's just recap the first part. At this point, the little finger's got to come over to the G, which is on the low E string. Now that's probably the toughest part, because this thing's got to move whilst keeping all the notes together without those moving, and it's quite a kind of difficult step to move just that independently. So before attempting this, just try moving the little finger on and off that string and make sure it's fretting and not just placing on top, so you actually get a note. That's a key thing. Let's try and incorporate that with the A minor. You'll have something like this. So you all together, 2 with the upstrokes, bass note, then you repeat. So it's basically the same action. 2, bass, then you do it again, all together, 2, and then the bass. And that cycle repeats. C major, 2, 1, A minor with the 2, bass, now that repeats over and over that section for the whole of the verses. Whenever there's a verse, you just repeat those chords, and that's pretty much it. Like I say, I'll do a tip section at the end of this so that you can any real problems you might come into problems with, I can show you a couple of ideas of how to overcome them. Okay guys, so the pre-chorus uses the dreaded F major chord. It's called dreaded because it is a bar chord, unfortunately, so you have to bar across the first fret. Most important notes though are the bass and the notes that you're going to be plucking with the 3 fingers here, which are the ones that you're fretting with here. It's not too important, the top notes, not too important because you're not really using them on this. The pattern is a bass and all the notes together, followed by 3 of the plucking up. then you move same pattern through the following chords. So you've got F major to D minor, A minor, and you do the same pattern that you did before when you were on the A minor with the G major, the G note, sorry, landing on that. Then you repeat again, but the second time around slightly different. You go through the F, same as before, to the D, and instead of going to A minor, you go to G major. Standard G major chord. You can use any of the variations. I like to use that one with all 4 fingers on there. 2 of them. And again, it's the same sort of pattern all together, and then the plucking up. Okay, so the pattern, if you've got the pattern of the finger picking kind of thing with the bass all together and then plucking up, the chords are fairly similar throughout the whole of this chorus, but we're starting on C major, and you're doing all together and then 3 on the ups, 2, 3, 4, to D minor, and again same pattern, all together and then ups, A minor, then the dreaded F, second time round, then you're on the I want you to stay, that note there, that's when you're going to go for the C major to D minor, and it's the verse, and you bring it down. And you're back into the verse chords. You got one more bit to learn on the chords, and that's the bridge, so let's give that one a go right now. Okay, so the bridge, there's quite a lot of chords being thrown at you in a couple of different sequences, so this is probably the hardest part to actually get your head around, but I'll try and split it down into small sections. You've got the same picking pattern, so you don't need to worry too much about the right hand if you've got this hand kind of nailed. It's the usual, all together and then 3 of the strokes. F major is your first chord, then A minor, then D minor. 2 of those, but before you go back to the F, you're going to do a little E minor chord before moving back. So you've got this, so it's half the length, only the bass and all together, and then 1 up, and then the same bass all together, up, and then you move to your F chord again. You repeat the same chord second time, but the D you just stay on. That's the first section of the bridge. Try and get those chords together. F major, A minor, D minor with the little E passing chord. Then you repeat it again without the E minor passing chord. Then you move on to the next section. Okay, the next section begins with F major, but instead of going to A minor, then D minor, you swap them around. So you're going from F to D minor and then A minor. Same patterns again, second time, D minor, instead of going to the A, you go to G. And then it will go back into the same chords as the chorus. First part I generally see is learning of the chords. So make sure you've taken my beginner guitar course on the website, because that will really help nail the basics, and then you can attempt the song. The other thing is the bar chord. Now remember, the only notes you need are the ones that are being fretted and the ones that are being plucked here. So on the F major, you're only really using the bottom 4 notes of the chord. So your bar doesn't have to be too good, really. You just need to be able to nail that bass note and the other notes. Second tip here is to make sure you pick all the notes of the chord if you're finding that some notes are being muted. Some guitars have a very high action, which means that the strings are high from the fretboard and people have a lot of trouble pushing down because they've got to push down a bit further. It's all to do with strength and technique in the hands, or getting yourself a guitar and getting the action set up properly so it's not too high and going to make it difficult for you to do bar chords. Any other tips I can give you on learning this song? Approach it one section at a time. That's why I've kind of made the video as easy to, you know, kind of bite-size and piece together. Don't move on until you've got at least the first part. Also, try and strum the chords to the right pattern first. So for the intro, for example, rather than trying to do the finger picking, just 4 downstrokes. Then to the D. If you can do it with just basic strumming, that's at least the left hand covered, and I'd recommend you get that first because it will sound the best, rather than working on your right hand first, which will sound a bit weird. And then once you've got those, you can move on to right hand. Music is all about, well, learning music anyway, is all about breaking it down to its component parts and trying to isolate things so you're not having to deal with too much at once. There's a lot going on when you're playing guitar. There's a lot of hand movements, there's a lot of thinking. So by dealing with it in as small a chunk as possible, you will be able to learn it, but as well as possible. So anyway guys, that's my tips. If you have any questions, or if you have any trouble learning the song, or if you just enjoyed the song and you fancy posting a comment, I read all the comments that come through on every single video. You can follow me on Twitter as well. You can follow me on Facebook. That's more a direct way of contacting me. Have an awesome week as always. New videos every Sunday. I will catch you on the next lesson and enjoy playing the guitar. See you then.